Morning, everyone. My name is Shafiq Sam. I am the program analyst for Zero Hunger Trust Fund. But as Shakespeare says, all the world's a stage. There's entrances and exits, and we play different roles at different times. And this morning, I have the honor of being your master of ceremonies for the launch of this EU-CaN project. Now, before we proceed, I would like to acknowledge or establish the protocol for persons. So the Honorable Dr. Kishore Shallow, who is our Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, Safia Hornbeek, Director and Chief Executive Officer for Zero Hunger Trust Fund, Ms. Ugne from CPVA, here with us, prominent secretaries and senior officials from participating countries. As we know, this is a multi-country program, so representatives from the countries of Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Mr. Robert Geese, permanent secretary from the Ministry of Education in Dominica. Mr. Javan Williams, permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Forestry in Grenada. Mr. Dwayne Mitchell, permanent representative of the Aga Combined School in St. Lucia. Pastor Shane Franklin, member of the ZHTF Board of Trustees. Representatives from the Central Project Management Agency, CVPA, and other EU-CaN project partners. And this includes Ms. Imante, Ms. Jone, Ms. Janine Blackard, part of the EU delegation in Barbados. The heads and representatives of the University of the West Indies, and we're here at the University of the West Indies Global Campus in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. So with that, we extend welcome to Dr. Risa McBarnett, the head of the site in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, and our different regional partner sites. Additionally, Ms. Shanda Davis, project coordinator of the EU-CaN Cultivating Future projects. Ms. Mikir Edwards Porter, technical expert for the EU-CaN Cultivating Project. National facilitators for the EU-CaN project, including representatives, and as we keep saying, this is a multi-country, multi-island project, so Representative Mr. Bert Paul from the 4-H Club Dominica, Ms. Katia Dawes, Rotary Satellite Club St. Lucia, Alanda Moses, ZHTF, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, and Mr. Emerald Gordon and Alice Jones, 4-H Club Grenada National Leaders Council, principals, teachers, students, representative, technical partners, members of the media, invited guests. So I'd like to say good morning, welcome, thank you for your presence. Once again, welcome to Dr. Risa McBarnett, head of the site for Saint Vincent and the Grenadines UE Global Campus. And so I have the esteemed honor of opening this ceremony. But you can't have such a ceremony looking at a project as ours regarding sustainable lives without invoking the presence of God into this ceremony. And at this time, we'd just like to ask Pastor Shane Franklin, a member of our board, to come forward and provide the invocation. Mr. Franklin.
Good morning, everyone. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Our Heavenly Father, the God of all creation, we praise you this morning for this joyous privilege in which we can recognize that you are our God and we are your people. We are ever grateful to you for all the bounteous provisions you have made for humanity amidst a world of so many challenges. We thank you today for this great initiative that will be launched to help to enhance food security across the region And Lord, we are asking you today for your divine blessing upon all what has to be said and done, to your name's honor and glory. Have your way, Father. Bless every presenter. And we pray that at the end of today's discourse, that the project that is to be implemented with your help will actualize and bring about greater security for our children, for our young adult, and for our nations at large. This is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
Can you remain standing as we sing the national anthem of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines? Or as we'll have the national anthem renditioned by the panists. So whenever you're ready. Oh, we'll join? Oh, Matthew, John. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew, for that wonderful rendition. There are very few things as emblematic as hearing steel pan and steel pan playing your national anthem. So thank you again, Matthew. So at this time, so for persons who have joined the room, you can please scan the code for the agenda for today's opening ceremony, right? So we're all about sustainable livelihoods and, taking care of the trees, so less paper. Scan the code, keep it digital, right? Lovely. And so at this time, we'd like to welcome Chanda, our project coordinator, to give the welcoming remarks. So let's welcome Chanda. Come on, it's one of EU-CaN family.
As soon as it's done, you have to come with this. You have to move with this. All right.
Sure.
Good morning, everyone. The Honorable Dr. Kishore N. Shallow, who's on his way here, the Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, host organization, and Project Manager of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project, Ms. Ugne Kemelauskaite, Head of the Global Europe Partnerships Division, European Union Central Project Management Agency, permanent secretaries and senior government officials from participating countries, Dominica, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, including Mr. Javon Williams, permanent secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Robert Geist, permanent secretary of the Ministry of Education in Dominica, Mr. Dwayne Mitchell, parent representative from the Auger Combined School in St. Lucia, members of the Board of Directors of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, including Pastor Shane Franklin, representatives of the Central Project Management Agency and other EU-CaN project partners, including Imante Vaite Kunaite and Ms. Yone Shakuvene, and also Ms. Janine Blanchard from the EU delegation Barbados. Heads and representatives of the University of the West Indies Global Campus, including Dr. Risa McBarnett, head of site in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and participating regional sites. Mrs. Mishka Edwards-Porter, our technical expert on the EU-CaN project, national coordination facilitators for the EU project, Across the participating countries, we have representatives, Mr. Emerald Gordon and Alice Jones, 4-H Club Grenada, National Leaders Council, Ms. Katia Dawes, Rotary Satellite Club of St. Lucia, Sunset, Mr. Bert Paul, 4-H Club Dominica, and Ms. Alanda Moses, the NCF at the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Principals, teachers, student representatives, and parent representatives from participating schools, technical partners, service providers, and project support personnel, members of the media, invited guests, partners, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. It was important that we go through that list. Very, very important. It's the reason why we are here. So let me begin by extending a warm and sincere welcome to all of you to the official launch of our EU-CaN Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youths for a Food Secure Region project. To those gathered with us here at the University of the West Indies Global Campus in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, and to our colleagues, partners, schools, and invited guests, join us virtually, because we have them virtually, they're all online, from Dominica, St. Lucia, and Grenada, and they're all at the University of the West Indies Global Campus sites. That's their morning. A very warm welcome to all. Seeing all 4 participating countries connected this morning is already an important milestone. In project coordination terms, whenever representatives from 4 countries, several schools, multiple ministries, donor partners, technical teams, and a live stream all come together in the same space at the same time, we pause, we give thanks, and recognize that something significant is happening. So thank you for being here, and thank you for helping us to begin this regional journey together. Today's launch is more than a formal opening. It is an invitation. Today is an opportunity for us to connect across countries, institutions, and school communities around a common purpose. It is also an opportunity to place our young people at the center of the conversation. To the students joining us today, and we have in our room on our side, we have schools here and we have schools on the other sides, also in our participating countries. So to the students joining us today, this project is not simply being delivered for you. It is being developed and implemented with you. We look forward to your energy, curiosity, ideas, and honesty. We expect that some of you will become garden champions, nutrition ambassadors, young innovators, and advocates for healthier and more sustainable communities. You may also discover new interests in agriculture, science, entrepreneurship, environmental management, or public service. At the very least, we hope this project will give you the chance to learn through doing, to work as a team, and to see that the choices you make can contribute to the well-being of your school, your family, and your community. Today is also an invitation to strengthen the connection between what our children learn and what they eat, and how our communities respond to the challenges around us. Across our islands, we know the realities quite well. High food import dependence, ever-rising food prices, climate shocks, hurricanes, drought, volcanic eruption. and the constant pressure on families and our school feeding programs. These are real serious challenges. But today, we are also saying that solutions can begin in practical places, including in a schoolyard, with a child possibly holding a watering can, asking, "Miss, when will this grow?" And for those of us who have ever tried gardening, we know the answer is never as fast as we would like. Agriculture teaches patience. It also teaches planning, teamwork, and humility. Because no matter how impressive our project work plan will be, the plant has its own schedule. That lesson is also true for projects. This launch gives us visibility and momentum. But the real work will take place after today, in the schools, through the relationships we build, the challenges we resolve, and the commitment we maintain. That is why this project is so important. It meets our region at the intersection of urgency and opportunity. Impact. It connects Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica, St. Lucia, and Grenada around a shared vision, empowering children and schools to contribute to food security through ecological school gardens and the garden to lunch approach. As project coordinator, I can say that this project already reflects what regional cooperation truly looks like. It involves many moving pieces, many conversations, and yes, many emails. Some of you have received, I'm guilty, some of you have received those emails from me. Some of you may receive even more emails after this, so I apologize in advance. But consider that part of the project's communication and visibility strategy. But on a serious note, coordination is not simply administration. It is the work of keeping purpose visible while managing details. It is ensuring that a school in Dominica, a partner in Grenada, a ministry representative in St. Lucia, a technical expert in Saint Vincent, and a donor partner overseas are all moving in the same direction. That is not always easy, but it is absolutely necessary. This morning, we will hear more about the purpose, structure, and expected results of the project from our project manager, Mrs. Sophia Hornbeek. She will also formally present the national coordinating facilitators and the 10 schools we're so proud of that have been selected to participate in the project. I will therefore resist the temptation to give the full project overview because as the project coordinator, I understand the importance of remaining within scope. I wish to acknowledge the European Union and the Central Project Management Agency for their support of this initiative. The Zero Hunger Trust Fund for its leadership, governments, principals, and teachers, PTAs, other school partners across the 4 participating countries, our NCFs, or they're called National Coordinating Facilitators, the UE Global Campus teams, thank you so much, and all those who have helped us to this important moment. The formal words of appreciation will come later in the program, but at this stage, let me simply say that your presence here signals the kind of partnership this project will depend on. As we proceed today, I encourage all of us to listen to not only what the project will do, but for what role we can play in making it successful. Projects do not succeed because they are well written on paper. They succeed because people take ownership. They succeed because partners communicate. They succeed because schools remain engaged. They succeed because risks are addressed properly. They succeed because communities see themselves in the work. So as we launch EU-CaN Cultivating Futures, let us do so with clarity, with commitment, and a shared sense of possibility. May this project help our children see food differently. May it help our schools become stronger spaces for learning, nutrition, and resilience. May it help our countries share knowledge, celebrate innovation, and build practical models that can be sustained beyond the life of the project. And may the seeds planted through this initiative, both literal and symbolic, grow into something that nourishes not only our children today, but our region tomorrow. Once again, welcome. Welcome, trust me, this is a big welcome, to the official launch of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project, empowering youths for a food-secure region. Thank you, and I wish us all a productive, inspiring, and successful launch and project implementation. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanda, for that powerful, encapsulating opening remark. And so, at this time, we're going to have remarks from our sister islands, starting with our close neighbor, Grenada. So, we'll welcome the remarks from Grenada. Yeah, so the remarks from Grenada will be by Mr. Javan Williams, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry in Grenada.
Good morning to all. I want to start by recognizing the Honorable Minister Dr. Kishore N. Shadow, Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, all other ministers present in this launch, permanent secretaries, teachers, students, principals, other distinguished guests, FOH members, and the rest of the invitees. Good morning to all. On behalf of the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry here in Grenada, we have the honor to bring greetings to the official launch of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund project, EU-CaN, which is Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youth for a Food-Secure Region. Grenada is proud to be one of the 4 beneficiary islands to benefit from the important regional initiative. This long-standing initiative signals confidence that our partners have in our young people, our schools, our national commitment to food and nutrition security. Today's launch is especially meaningful because it is not just about a project, it is about people and possibilities, about our students, our schools, our communities. With the 4-H program in schools, we recognize our 3 selected beneficiaries here in Grenada: the River Sally Government School, the Paraclete Government School, and the St. Martin de Porres Catholic School. For the students, we expect you to receive all the support to establish and sustain your school garden, as well as training and assistance for the Garden to Launch program. For the participating schools around the islands, please note, this opportunity means practical hands-on learning. Students will move beyond the classroom into living laboratories where they can plant, nurture, harvest crops, linking science, maths, and health, and business to real-life experiences. 2, better nutrition and healthier habits. The Garden to Lunch concept can help children understand where the food comes from, encourage them to choose fresh, local, and nutritional options. 3, skills for life and livelihood. Through 4-H and School Garden, our youth are exposed to modern agricultural practices, teamwork, leadership, and entrepreneurship skills that can open doors for future career and income-earning opportunities. For Grenada, as a beneficiary country, this project supports several of our national priorities, which includes, it strengthens the effort of food towards nutrition security by encouraging local production and reducing dependencies on inputs and other national foods. It promotes climate smart and sustainable agriculture by teaching young people how to grow food responsibly and protect our national resource. It invests in our youth development, empowering the next generation to see agriculture as just not a last resort, but as a modern, innovative, and responsible profession. This ministry values deeply the partnership with the 4-H Council and the 4-H youth within our ministry. Your continued work with young people, instilling values of head, heart, hands, and health aligns perfectly with our vision for a resilient agricultural sector. We also acknowledge with appreciation the support of the EU-CaN, the European Union, and the Zero Hunger Trust Fund for making initiatives like this possible and for including Grenada in this regional effort. Your investment is helping to lay the foundation for a more food-secure Caribbean and one school garden that allows for bringing food to the table. To the principals, teachers, 4-H leaders, participating schools, you are a critical partner. The success of this project will depend on your continued guidance, creativity, commitment to keeping the garden active and meaningful for the students' use. To our students, this project is really about you. The seeds that you plant in these gardens are also the seeds for knowledge, confidence, and future opportunities. Take full advantage of this chance to learn, to lead, to help feed your school, your family, and your country. As this ministry endorses this project, we reaffirm our full support to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund project, the EU-CaN, and the Garden to Launch program. We look forward to working closely with the National 4-H Council, schools, and our regional partners to ensure that the benefit of this initiative are sustained and expanded. I congratulate all who have worked to bring this launch to fruition, and I extend my best wishes for a successful implementation. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Javan Williams, Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Surveys in Grenada. We'll now have our remarks from St. Lucia via Parent-Focused Agri Combined School from Mr. Dwayne Mitchell. So we now welcome St. Lucia to give their opening remarks. Okay, so it seems like there's a bit of a technical issue in the interim. So at this time, we'll now have the opening remarks from Dominica by Mr. Cian Stevenson, Director of Agriculture of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue Economy, Green Economy. So we'll now have the remarks from Dominica that will be done by, once again, Mr. Cian Stevenson, Director of Agriculture for the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue Economy, and Green Economy. Dominica.
All right. Good morning. Good morning to our sister islands. Happy to have the youth of all the OECS islands together participating in such a landmark experience. The youth are the future. I believe in the youth, and if we have to have any change, it starts with the youth today, not tomorrow. I'd like to first apologize for the absence of PS Geese. He was supposed to be giving these remarks today. I do apologize, but he did want to be here. Also for the absence of my permanent secretary, PS Anselm, who is presently out of state. So I will be giving these remarks on their behalf. So I'd just like to recognize this regional launch of the EU-CaN Cultivating Future project. So I'd just like to say again, good morning to our distinguished guests, both here and across the region, representatives of the European Union, the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, CPVA, FIAP, Global Gateway, our regional and national partners, educators, students, invited guests, our students. Good morning, young ones. All right. Today marks more than just the launch of this project. It represents an investment in our region's most valuable resources, our young people. The theme, Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youth for a Food-Secure Region, speaks directly to the vision we are pursuing in Dominica. Through such initiatives like helping out our primary school, which we dub HOOPS, and other programs like the 4-H program or the revitalization of our 4-H collaborative efforts with the Ministry of Agriculture. Through these programs, we are ensuring that agriculture is no longer seen merely as farming, but as a pathway to innovation, entrepreneurship, climate resilience, technology, and a sustainable development of our future. Across our schools, we are introducing climate smart gardens, hydroponics, agribusiness education, nutrition awareness, and hands-on agricultural learning experiences that inspire young people to become the next generation or this generation of agricultural leaders, a food system for innovators. Are you innovators? Yes? All right. This initiative also contributes directly to several of our sustainable development goals, not just here in the island, but nationally and internationally, such as SDG 2, Zero Hunger, by strengthening food security and nutrition, SDG 4, Quality Education, by providing a practical and relevant learning opportunity, SDG 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, by preparing youth for green careers and agribusiness opportunities, and SDG 13, Climate Action, by promoting climate smart and resilient agricultural practices. No single institution can achieve these goals alone. Partnerships such as the one we celebrate today demonstrates the power of collaboration between governments, development partners, schools, communities, and young people. As Director of Agriculture, I reaffirm our Ministry of Agriculture and the government's commitment to working alongside our regional and international partners to cultivate not only crops, but also knowledge, leadership, and opportunity. Together, let us empower our youth, strengthen our schools, and build a food secure and resilient Caribbean nation. Together, we can do it. And together, there's no what? I in teamwork, and teamwork makes the dream work. So I think together we can do it and achieve this for this nation. So again, we say thank you, and I wish the EU-CaN Cultivating Cultivating Futures project very much a success today, right? To all our primary schools and our other schools, I wish you all the best. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Representative from Dominica, for those powerful remarks. As you said, there's no I in team, and we have to do this together. And I'm looking at all of the young ones in the room, and I'm hoping that the young ones online can understand that they are innovators. So at this time, so lovely. We call that divine timing, right? So at this time, we welcome Saint Lucia to give their remarks. So Saint Lucia, who will be giving remarks by Mr. Dwayne Mitchell of Parent Focus Australia Combined School. So let's get the comment from Helen of the West.
Pleasant good morning to all, and by the protocol that is established, just want to say good morning to all and welcome each and every one of us being present here today for the launching of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures Hybrid Regionals Project launch. For its theme for Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youths for Food Secure Region. This cannot not be overemphasized for not just all member states within the region of Saint Vincent, Dominica, Grenada, and St. Lucia, which resonates and brings the focus directly to us here in St. Lucia and to us as a regional body in centralizing to our human capacity building. This project would directly focus on developing our human resource, not just for now, but for the dispensation of time. And within its focus underpinning the parental role brings us directly to our family, because our family is the #1 base for our business, is the #1 base and foundation for our societies, our communities, our schools, to ensure that we establish one of the most important, which is nutrition and food. Secondly, through our financial stability to ensure that we are able to continue to go through the facets of our lives. And what does it mean? It means to underpin through the parental involvement in this project to ensure that our children fully is supported and is well-rounded and grounded in their development, not just academically and intellectually, but as human resource to make it throughout our dispensation amidst all the challenges that we face in the 21st century. First and foremost, at our representing school, Auger Combined School, we see this very important to our school's ecological garden and earthing our human resource to their full potential from entry to exit of the school, no matter their placement from entry to exit, but being able to transform leaders into agents of change so that they, within and out of the school walls, will be one seed at a time to make an impact in their roles wherever it takes them, as seeds, as pods, as cluster, integrating what this program is going to be able to bring forward to them through their academic pursuit, to their social life, and all aspects whatsoever. Secondly, rounding heads, hearts, and hands. Agriculture is the key and foundation for us to be able to target our executive functions, not just in academics, but in our social lives, and most importantly, in our financial state of being. We have to ensure that our children have that full capacity so that they can be able to build their self in purpose, in vision, in mission, and destiny in their lives through the seed of intellectual capability, through unlearning, learning, and relearning. As the school motto says, learn now to live later. Agriculture brings that principle throughout, that we have to be able to learn and to embrace the times and changes that comes with everyday life. And agriculture and this program will be able to reinforce this by giving us the skills and the keys that we need to establish an approach for all 4 seasons of our lives through a growth mindset. And against all the environmental pressures as we face in the Caribbean, within 4 member states, within the convergence of our real time. Fourthly, through that holistic approach of that whole seed being established for transformation from a seed to a fruit-bearing tree, so that these individuals, from the home, the communities, the schools, our society, and our nation, can embrace all that is there technologically, socially, to be able to bring in that full package so that we can be full purpose-driven individuals by empowering our young people so that they can be able to achieve and live a life of purpose. But ultimately, the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project is to be able to establish a bountiful harvest support system within our island here in Saint Lucia and across the region, so that we have a fully packed human being who is able to not just operate as an individual unit, but also to be part of a bigger support system network in social behavior and emotional stability, in learning not just in academics, in learning not just in intellectual rights and
technical difficulties with St. Lucia. We'll see if we can get them back on. Technology, right? Yes, so it's an island-wide power issue, so the fact that they made it on and gave such a powerful contribution in that period of time shows the importance of this project, yeah? And so, well, in the interim, could we just give St. Lucia a round of applause for that? And I hope that the kids take away, and I'm looking at the kids in the audience, and I hope the kids realize it takes a team to do great things, yeah? It's your classmates, your communities, your teachers. You can't do the things that you want to do alone. So from a young age, collaboration is imperative, And at this point in time, we welcome the Director/CEO and Project Manager of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures Project, Mrs. Safia Hornbeek, our CEO, to give her remarks. Let's welcome Safia to the podium.
Thank you, Shafiq. I'm going to give a long introduction to say that I'm not going through the protocol, something that I never do. But since the protocol is half of my speech, I'm going to take Shanda and accept it and say good morning, acknowledge our minister is on his way. We had a few clashes this morning with meetings. Acknowledge the colleagues that have joined us from Latvia, everybody? Was it right? From Europe, that is here with us, from the Central Project Management Agency, the EU-CaN team, from across the 4 Caribbean countries that we are implementing the project, our students, our parents, our teachers, the ZHTF team that is working with me and the project management team. I want to recognize Mishka, who is just joining us as the technical expert. And in his absence, I want to recognize Johnny Callist, our meal expert. He's actually in Saint Vincent from Grenada, but he's currently in Beckway, so we'll hope we'll see him in Beckway this evening when we're there. And anybody else that I had missed out in the protocol, my apologies, but I know it's quite lengthy. I'm just going to pause to allow the minister to join us, please. Morning. So that's our Honorable Minister, Dr. Kishore Shallow, Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, and Sustainable Development, with the portfolio that Zero Hunger is responsible. Now, it gives me great pleasure today to address you in my capacity as Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and the host lead implementing organization, as well as the project manager. I'm carrying quite a few hats this morning, of the Cultivating Future, Empowering Youth for Food Secure Region project, funded by the European Union through its EU-CaN facility. Today, with this launch, we are activating a regional partnership that brings together schools, governments, civil society organizations, parents, communities, technical partners, and young people around a shared purpose to help build a more food secure, nutritious conscious, and climate resilient Caribbean. The project title, Cultivating Future, speaks directly to that purpose. We are cultivating gardens, certainly, but more importantly, we are cultivating knowledge, responsibility, confidence, healthy habits, and a strong appreciation among young people of where food comes from and the role they can play in shaping our regional food system. The visible product of this project may be the garden. However, the outcome we seek is much larger. Stronger schools, healthier communities, and healthier children, and more resilient communities. Across our region, we continue to face interconnected challenges. Food prices remain a concern among families. Climate change is affecting agriculture production. Many of our children are increasingly disconnected from processes through which food is grown, harvested, prepared, and consumed. At the same time, schools often lack the resources, systems, and sustainable technical support required to turn school gardens into productive, lasting, and meaningful education spaces. The challenge has often been sustainability. A garden may begin with enthusiasm, but without clear leadership, technical guidance, student ownership, parent and community involvement, proper monitoring, and a connection to the wider learning environment, that enthusiasm can be difficult to maintain. The EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project is therefore not designed as a one-off distribution of seeds, tools, or garden supplies. It is designed as a structured school and community development intervention. Through this project, 10 schools across Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines will be supported to establish strengthened ecological gardens. The project will provide technical guidance, build the capacity of teachers, students, and school communities, promote environmental responsibility and climate resilient practices, strengthen nutrition education, and encourage greater integration between what is grown in the garden and what is taught in the classroom, where feasible, what is prepared and consumed through school feeding and nutrition-related activities. This project also supports the use of practical tools for schools assessment, planning, monitoring, learning, and documentation. Through the Garden to Lunch approach, schools will be encouraged not to see gardens as a separate extracurricular activity, but as a part of a wider school food and nutrition system. The intention is to create a space where students can learn by doing, where science, agriculture, health, nutrition, and environmental education can become practical and visible, where the produce of the garden can contribute meaningfully to schools and community life. This project is also distinctly regional. Although implementation will take place in individual schools and countries, the schools will form part of a regional learning network. They'll be able to share experiences, compare approaches, learn from challenges, and celebrate progress together. Productive, creative, and sustainability would be the cornerstone of the Garden to Lunch competition. But competition is not the primary goal. The greater objective is to establish models that work, that endure, and can be adapted or replicated by other schools across the region. And so, as I said, this is distinctly regional. It gives me a great honor to now introduce our national coordinating, facilitating organizations. For Dominica, the national coordinating facilitator is the 4-H Dominica, and that is represented by Mr. Bert Paul. For Grenada, the national coordinating facilitator is the 4-H Grenada National Leaders Council, represented by Mr. Emerald Garden and Ms. Alice Jones. For St. Lucia, the NCF is the Rotary Satellite Club of St. Lucia, and represented by Ms. Katia Dowes. And for Saint Vincent, the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, represented by Alanda Moses. To our coordinators, your role is fundamental. You are not simply country contacts. You are a principal bridge between regional project management structure, national authorities, participating schools, and local stakeholders. You will help to coordinate national activities, support school assessment, maintain communication, identify challenges early, facilitate monitoring and visibility, and ensure that the project design is translated in a meaningful way to action in your country and at schools levels. We look to you to safeguard the quality, the consistency, and continuity of implementation. We also look to you to build national ownership so that the work initiated through this project is not seen as an external activity, but as an investment in each country's children, schools, and food system. On behalf of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, our project partners, I formally welcome you and recognize you as our national coordinating facilitators of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project. It is now my privilege to formally announce the 10 schools selected to participate in the inaugural cohort of the regional project. Their selection followed an open call for application, along with a screening and assessment process to identify schools with both demonstrated need and potential to lead, sustain, and expand the intervention. Selection brings opportunities, but it brings responsibilities. These schools will become implementation, demonstration, and learning sites, not only within their prospective countries, but for the wider region. At this stage, the schools will be named by country in recognition of the national partners, school leaders, and communities that will carry the work forward. Each school entered the project as part of a shared regional cohort with responsibility to learn, contribute, and demonstrate what sustainable gardens achieve. Please join me in appreciating the schools from Dominica, Soufrière Primary School, Bagatelle Primary School. From Grenada, Paraclete Government School, River Sally Government School, and St. Martin de Porres Catholic School. From St. Lucia, Auger Combined School and Cicerone RC Combined School. From Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Beckway Anglican Primary and Early Childhood Center, Caliaco Anglican School, Chateaubelair Methodist School. We received 32 applications, and we would have loved to select others, and we're hoping we will be able to, at some time, to work with these schools, because all the schools demonstrated a commitment and the ability to carry this project, and we hope to engage you in the future. To principal, teachers, students, parents, and community representatives of these 10 schools, congratulations. On behalf of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and all project partners, I formally welcome you into the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures project. Your selection should not be viewed simply as a receipt of project support. It is a commitment to provide leadership. It is a commitment to ensure students are not spectators, but active participants. It is a commitment to involve teachers, parents, and community members. It is a commitment to use project resources responsibly, to maintain accurate records, and to participate in monitoring and learning activities. And most importantly, to care for and sustain the gardens that will be developed. We want each school to take ownership of its garden from the outset. The garden should not belong to the project coordinator, the national coordinating facilitators, or even to one designated teacher. It must become part of the identity and the life of the entire school community. Students should see it as a place where they can explore, experiment, and lead. Teachers should see it as an extension of the classroom. Parents and community members should see it as an opportunity to contribute knowledge, time, and encouragement. Schools administrators should see it as an investment in education, nutrition, and institutional development. For us, what success must look like is clear. Success is how we measure what we have implemented and how it has impacted the schools and the beneficiaries. Success will not be measured only by the number of garden beds established, tools distributed, or photographs taken on planting day. It will be measured by what is growing months later, by regular participation of students, by what students have learned about food, nutrition, and agriculture, the ecosystem and climate resilience. It will be measured by the extent to which teachers integrate garden into learning, by whether parents and community remains engaged, by whether produce reaches the plate or supports school nutrition activities where feasible, and whether schools document their process, identify their challenges, and find practical solutions. Ultimately, it will be measured by whether the participating schools can sustain and expand the work beyond the period of the direct project support. The 10 schools are not passive beneficiaries, they are co-implementers. The national facilitators are not simply administrative partners, they are custodians of the quality and continuity of the project at the national level. Our government partners are not observers. Their policy, technical, and institution support, which will be necessary for the sustainability and scale of the project. Our students are not merely recipients, they are emerging leaders for food producers, innovators, advocates who will carry this work forward. The Zero Hunger Trust Fund is grateful for the support of the European Union and for the partnership with the CPVA, FIHAP, national governments, the Global Gateway, Ministries of Education, University of the West Indies Global Campus, who went out of their comfort zone and coordinate for us today. Our NCFs, participating schools, and all technical community partners. The programs for today's launch appropriately reflects regional and collaborative nature of the initiatives, bringing together representatives of partnering countries, development partners, host organizations, and selected school communities. We are grateful not only for the resources committed, but also for the confidence placed in the Zero Hunger Trust Fund to lead and coordinate this regional intervention. The confidence carries a corresponding responsibility. Our task now is to convert project resources and partnership into visible, measurable, and sustainable benefits for children, schools, and communities. As the lead implementing agency, the Zero Hunger Trust Fund is committed to sound coordination, accountability, communication, and results. We will work closely with every partner to address challenges, document lessons, and ensure that the project remains focused on its intended purpose. Today, we officially celebrate and launch the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures, empowering youths for a regional future, empowering roots for a food-secure region. We formally present the NCFs, who will anchor the implementation in country. We welcome the 10 schools that will bring the project to life, and we invite government, teachers, students, parents, community, and partners to collectively own the work ahead. Let us build gardens that do more than produce food. Let us build gardens that teach, gardens that nourish, gardens that strengthen schools, gardens that reconnect young people with agriculture and the environment, gardens that demonstrate regional cooperation can achieve, and gardens that endure. Together, let's cultivate not only crops, but knowledge, leadership, healthy choices, and a more food-secure region for our Caribbean. Thank you.
Thank you for those welcoming remarks. We all know how important gardens are, right? So much so that on one of the most famous books known to man, very early, the setting was a garden, right? So let us look at gardens as third spaces, spaces for community building, spaces for learning, and this is especially important for the young ones. Not see the importance of the garden until they get older, but the fond memories of it as a third space and as an educational space is super important. And so, at this time, we'll receive remarks by Miss Jeannie Blanchard, Project Officer, Governance, Digital Security, and Human Development online. So we welcome Jeannie to give her remarks.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister, Dr. Kishore Shallow, distinguished officials of the governments of Grenada, St. Lucia, Dominica, and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, members of the team from the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, partners from schools and communities across the 4 countries, representatives from our implementing partner, Central Project Management Agency. Good morning. It is a pleasure to join you today for the launch of the EU-CaN Cultivating Futures, Empowering Youth for a Food Secure Region. On behalf of the European Union delegation, I am pleased to mark the start of this important regional initiative, which will benefit school children and communities in these 4 countries. This project has been some time in the making. I believe we may have started last year, and this project comes at a very important time. Across the Caribbean, families and communities are facing the combined pressures of rising food costs, climate change, and growing concerns about nutrition and health. These challenges affect everyone, but they affect children most of all. When children do not have access to healthy food, their learning, development, and future opportunities are all put at risk. That is why this initiative matters so much. EU-CaN Cultivating Futures brings together several priorities in one practical and inspiring approach: school feeding, nutrition education, climate-smart agriculture, and youth engagement. It recognizes a simple but powerful truth. If we want a food-secure future, we must start with children, schools, and communities. By supporting ecological school gardens, this project will help make school places not only of learning, but also of cultivation, discovery, and well-being. Through garden-based learning, children will gain hands-on experience in how food is grown, where it comes from, and why healthy diets matter. Through nutrition education, they will develop habits and knowledge that can serve them for a lifetime. And by linking school gardens with school meals, the project creates a direct and meaningful connection between agriculture, nutrition, and education. I would also like to stress that this initiative is not only about children. It is about the wider school community. Teachers, cooks, and school administrators all have an essential role to play. The planned trainings, the selection and support of schools, the engagement with parents and children, and the activities in school gardens are all important elements of a holistic approach. Lasting change happens when knowledge is shared across the whole community. The regional dimension of this project is also one of its great strengths. The participating countries each bring their own experience, context, and innovation. By working together, they can learn from each other, scale up what works, and build a stronger regional response to food and nutrition challenges. The European Union strongly values this kind of cooperation and exchange. We are also particularly encouraged by the inclusion of the Garden to Lunch competition. This is more than an awareness-raising activity. It is a creative way to celebrate achievement, encourage participation, and make learning enjoyable. It can help inspire pride among students and schools while highlighting the importance of local food systems and healthy meals. The European Union is proud to support initiatives that invest in people, resilience, and sustainability. This project reflects values that are central to our partnership with the Caribbean: human development, climate resilience, food security, and inclusive opportunities for the next generation. It also reflects an understanding that food security is not only about availability, it is about access, affordability, quality, nutrition, sustainability, and dignity. And when we place schools at the center of this effort, we are investing not only in better meals today, but in healthier societies tomorrow. Let me take this opportunity to commend all those involved in bringing this initiative to life: the implementing partners, national authorities, educators, school staff, and community members. Your commitment is essential to its success. To the teachers and school administrators, thank you for opening your schools to innovation. To the cooks, thank you for the vital role you play in nourishing children every day. To the parents and communities, thank you for your support and participation. And to the children who are at the heart of this initiative, this project is for you, and we hope it will inspire you to learn, to grow, and to lead. As we launch EU-CaN Cultivating Futures, let us do so with ambition and with confidence. Let us work together to ensure that every child has access to healthy food, practical knowledge, and the opportunity to build a better future. The seeds we plant today in gardens, in classrooms, and in young minds can grow into stronger schools, healthier communities, and a more food-secure region. The European Union is proud to stand with you in this effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Blanchard, for those remarks. At this time, I have the distinct honor to welcome the head of Global Europe Partnership Division, Central Project Management Agency, also known as CPVA, Ms. Ugni. Welcome her for me, please, as she gives her remarks.
Thank you very much. Dear ministers, dear ministry representatives, dear schools and schools representatives, dear friends and colleagues, good morning from my side as well. Or as we say in Lithuanian, sveiki, which is a very beautiful saying because it literally means, we hope you're healthy. And for ones who are very curious, what is this Lithuania about or where is it coming from? It's a country, small country in the European Union, which is 9,000 kilometers away. And very naturally, the question comes, how someone so far away can be so similar at the same time? Lithuania is very digital. If we want, we can do everything online without talking with people, so sometimes we forget the beauty of the community. But at the same time, Lithuania is very agricultural. 45% of the Lithuanian land is used for agriculture, especially in the rural areas. Yes, it's not always easy. But what we have at the moment is that having the garden at home is cool. And it takes time to make it fashionable, to make it trendy, to make sure you grow the tomatoes in your balcony and you brag about it to your friends. It took time. And of course, it also comes with the lack of resources sometimes, or it comes sometimes with the long process. And what I'm saying with that, we are starting the process today. And the process is always ongoing. So what we are committing today is to a never-ending goal of making sure we live healthy. So that every time we say sveiki, we not only say hello, but we mean that we are healthy. And the processes are usually led by organizations, and that's why the Central Project Management Agency was mentioned today several times. It's the institution in Lithuanian, which is actually a public institution. It's under Ministry of Finance of Lithuania. But as a public institution, we do understand the power of the community. Even if sometimes we are not so good at keeping the communities alive ourselves because of the cultural things, but we do understand the power of community. And as a central project management agency, we also understand the power of the partnerships. It's so hard to go through the process alone, and it's so easy to do that together. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? That's why we need every one of you who is already involved and who is willing to be a part of EU-CaN program. Of course, as a CPVA, we're also not doing it alone. We're doing it with the huge trust of the EU delegation to Barbados, which we are very grateful for, and our partners, FIAP from Spain. And we were entrusted to partnership with the local communities here in the Caribbean. We, of course, absolutely grateful for Zero Hunger Trust Fund for trusting in us to be the partners in this process. And there is no one better who knows your countries and the islands than you. No one else can tell you how and what to do except yourselves. You yourself stepping forward and making sure you are there for the change. And when we talk about the communities, we also talk a lot about the youth. And I love the saying that it's beautiful to work with youth. But from my perspective, when I was working with youth, I think there are two things which we have to keep learning from the youth: curiosity and bravery. Somehow growing up, sometimes we forget about it. About the curiosity, so where is the food coming from? How do we grow it? Why tomatoes are red? All the questions which keeps us alive, keeps us interested in life. And then the bravery. Bravery to try, and sometimes to fail. It can happen that not all the gardens, not all the plants are gonna grow, and that's okay. That's why we have the bravery to try again. So these are two beautiful things we have to keep our young souls alive: bravery and curiosity. And with bravery and curiosity and the partnerships, we are going to the process which leads to, no matter where in the world we are, in the Caribbean islands or in Lithuania, we all are seeking for a better quality of life, for our young people and for ourselves. So I wish us all to continue seeking for this better quality of life. And with all the limited resources we have, what we have the best is people. Let's be those people who are there, who are curious, who are brave, who are there for a change, and who are there to make sure we live in the beautiful world. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. It's interesting that certain things are quite universal, like the sense of community, right? And that connection, that community feels familiar, whether in Europe or in the Caribbean, and there are certain shared experiences, no matter how modern and digital we are. At this time, we await a musical item, but given that we're having some technical difficulties, we welcome the Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, Dr. the Honorable Kishore Shallow, to give his featured address. Let's welcome our Minister, Dr. Shallow.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You know, when my esteemed colleague invited me this morning, she told me remarks, right? And then I got to check the agenda, the program, and realized that feature address. You know, still remarks. Okay. I think it's only fair that the panelists is the feature address this morning, at least feature performer. But really happy to be here with everyone, as usual, supporting this very critical program to Saint Vincent and the Grenadines and the entire region. And I'm particularly pleased, I think this is the first event that I'm attending for the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, where we have others being facilitated online. So that's certainly a great approach and initiative as well, because in the region we are one. But as I said, immense pleasure to join you this morning for this launch of this very critical project. I want to particularly extend sincere appreciation to the European Union for the continued collaboration and support with these pressing and important matters, our regional and our international partners, local stakeholders as well. The Zero Hunger Trust Fund continue to play a vital role in our society, and I don't think at any moment we can take that for granted. Their commitment to strengthening food security in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines and improving nutrition throughout, really, and as you see, collaborating with our neighbors in the region, it really must be applauded. I want to applaud you, CEO. The reality before us is that globally we have over 670, I think that's nearing 700 million people around the entire world that face hunger. And stats suggest that about 2.3 billion people experience food insecurity. And you can go even further to say that 2.6 thereabout billion also cannot afford a healthy diet daily. Now that's the reality before us. And so if you digest those stats, you realize how important every initiative to combat poverty, to combat food insecurity, food security, which is the next approach, you would see how meaningful these efforts are. And we can't in any way understate the value of these efforts. And so every opportunity I certainly have representing the government of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, I continue to ask everyone for their just a continued support in us addressing this critical issue. I consider it a crisis, really a global crisis, but we could call it a development challenge if we want. But I think we're at a stage when you really recall those stats, it's really crisis mode. And the Caribbean, unfortunately, is not in isolation of this global issue. And we have a unique reality here in that we are separated by islands, but our challenges are similar. But unique in the sense that in the region, we probably import more than most across the world. So again, another statistic shows that we import over 80% of our food. The food that we consume here in the region, we import 80% of it. That's a unique reality indeed. We could translate that to around $6 billion of money spent outside of the region, right, to get food here. And if you look at that, if you look at it in the context of a fiscal challenge, and the fiscal reality there suggests that it is no longer an agricultural issue, but it is also an economic, environmental, and clearly a national security imperative. And that's where we are today, and which is why we have to keep, again, coming up with these kind of initiatives to address it before this crisis gets worse. Hopefully it is not a chronic issue, which means it's not going to be along forever, and that interventions like these would play a part in at least, minimizing and eventually stopping the impact. And so again, this initiative being launched today is really necessary to address the health of our people and communities, the opportunities available to our young people, and the sustainability of our nation's future. I'm really happy that the youth are at the core of this initiative and the core of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund program. It reflects really a priority of investing in our schools, empowering our youth, promoting healthy lifestyle, and even encouraging, I would say, climate-smart agricultural practices, because we are introducing some technology into this project, which is critical. We must optimize, and if we track the practices across the world, and practically every aspect of our life now, we have to incorporate technology for efficiency more than anything else. I had a discussion yesterday at Cabinet where we talk about adopting AI, adopting technology, but not to make people redundant, but just to enhance what we do. And so we must not be intimidated when we mention technology, and I'm certain that our young people are not intimidated. It is more the seniors, right? But we say we have to adopt technology to optimize our resources and our efforts. Of course, the government of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines remains committed to building a robust and self-sufficient food system, which, again, Zero Hunger Trust Fund, I think they have created a framework that not only us here in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, but our neighboring islands, particularly the Windward Islands, Dominica, St. Lucia, and Grenada, and beyond, that they could adopt the framework that has worked really well for us here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And again, through initiatives such as, these school gardens, nutrition, education, stronger partnerships between stakeholders, because we cannot, as in the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and absolutely no government in the region, because we're just too small in terms of population and our fiscal space, that we have to collaborate with international partners like EU and the others, many others who come in and willing to work with us. Because by doing so, we are creating great opportunities for our local stakeholders, whether it is, again, the young people, through the schools, the farmers, and the communities. And I would say that through this initiative, we are, some would say laying, but I would say strengthening the foundation really for a healthier and more sustainable, food secure nation going forward. I think that it is safe to say that this program is widely accepted and welcomed by the government. I can't, again, commend the management and staff at the Zero Hunger Trust Fund for the real, a model when it comes to professionalism and efficiency. And I think, again, if we could just give them all a round of applause. As minister, I'm particularly pleased and always happy, to allow Safia to take the lead, which is a job that she does really well. But I want us to continue keeping the young people, the youth, the children, school children especially, at the core of all these initiatives. So I commend them for this by equipping our children, by equipping them with agricultural practices, environmental awareness, and just to have an appreciation of healthy food. I would say that we are safely cultivating the next generation of innovators, entrepreneurs, and leaders who we need to really drive, this initiative or initiatives like these to reduce the imports and to utilize our fertile lands that we have here to produce food for us. And with that, as I said, it was just remarks this morning. I'm ready to go over to the panelists, but I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and for the continued support to the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and the amazing work that they continue to do, to our esteemed partners, every one of you, and to those online, our neighboring countries, for being part of this important initiative. I commend you as well. And I just want to take this opportunity to wish this program the very best. And again, wishing everyone a great day. Blessings to everyone. Thanks again for having me.
So if it's one thing in life you have to learn is to be agile and adaptive, right? And another thing is gratitude. So we're going to flip the script a little bit because we've had a lot of, impactful things said. So at this time, we're gonna welcome Ms. Alanda Moses, the NCF of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, representing Zero Hunger Trust Fund, to give the vote of thanks, after which we'll have a nice moment of brevity, a nice uplifting moment where we'll get some music, where we can take some pictures and mingle, because we often get so accustomed to the ceremony, the talking, that we don't get enough time to interact, engage, and actually record the moments. So let's just have that vote of thanks and wrap up with the musical item. All right, Alanda, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shafiq. Well, since we are wrapping up, I'm going to take the opportunity to acknowledge the protocol. Honorable Dr. Kishon N. Shallow, Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Ms. Safia Hornbeek, Director and Chief Education Executive Officer of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, and also the Project Manager of the EU-CaN Cultivating Future project, Ms. Ugi, Head of the Global Youth Partnership Division, European Union Central Project Management Agency, permanent secretaries and senior government officials from all participating countries, including Grenada, Dominica, and St. Lucia, Mr. Dwayne Mitchell, parent representative, who gave us the remarks earlier, members of the Board of Directors of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, including Pastor Shane Franklin, representatives of the Central Project Management Agency and other EU project partners, heads and representative of the University of the West Indies Global Campus, Dr. Risa McBarnett, head of site, and other participating regional sites, Ms. Chandler Davis, project coordinator of EU-CaN Cultivating Project, Mrs. Mishka Edwards-Porter, technical expert on the EU-CaN Cultivating Project, national coordinating facilitators for the EU-CaN project, including Mr. Bert Paul from 4H Dominica, Ms. Katia Diaz from Rotary Satellite Club of St. Lucia Sunset, Mr. Emerald Gordon and Ms. Alice Jones of 4H Grenada, and National Leaders Council, principals, teachers, student representatives, parent representatives, all participating schools, technical partners, service providers, and project support personnel, members of the media, invited guests, partners, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the close of this official regional launch, it is my distinct honor, on behalf of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund and the EU-CaN Cultivating Future project team, to express our sincere appreciation to everyone who has contributed, not only to this event, but the entire journey that has brought this project from an initial idea to a regional implementation. Today represents an important milestone. It marks the beginning of a shared commitment among 4 countries, 10 selected schools, communities, national institutions, civil society partners, educators, parents, young people, to cultivate a future to empower youth and contribute to sustainable development by strengthening food and nutrition security through practical learning, ecological school gardens, and regional cooperation. First and foremost, we extend our sincere gratitude to the European Union for the financial support that has made this initiative possible. This investment demonstrates confidence in the capacity of Caribbean institutions, our schools, our young people, to contribute meaningfully to more resilient and sustainable food systems. We must offer
special thanks and appreciation to the Central Project Management Agency, CPVA, and FIAP for their partnership, guidance, and technical support throughout the project development and implementation stage. In particular, we thank Ms. Ugi, Ms. Imante, Ms. Johnny, as well as the wider team supporting the project. Your guidance through the stages of project preparation, clarifications, contracting, and mobilization has helped us to reach this important point. We are deeply grateful to the Honorable Dr. Kishore Enshallow, Minister of Tourism, Aviation, and Sustainability, delivering today's featured address and for affirming the relevance of this project to the national and regional sustainable development priorities. We also thank all permanent secretaries, senior government officials, representatives of the participating countries for their remarks, their endorsements, and their continued support. Your participation confirms the project is not operating in isolation, but we are all connected to the priorities of the ministries and the agencies responsible for education, agriculture, youth development, nutrition, and sustainable development across our region. To the government ministries and national authorities of Dominica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, we express our appreciation for the consultations, the endorsements, and institutional cooperation that have supported the project from its formative stages. Your continued engagement will be essential as implementation moves into the schools and communities. We also acknowledge with gratitude the leadership of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund as the lead implementing and host organization. We especially recognize our Director and Chief Executive Officer and Project Manager, Mrs. Safia Hornbeek, for guiding the development of the concept, building the regional partnerships, and maintaining the focus required to move the project from design to implementation. We also recognize the contribution of the chairman and members of the ZHTF Board of Trustees and the wider staff team, whose governance, administrative support, financial, program, and communication support have helped to establish the foundation for implementation. Special appreciation is extended also to Waterways, whose engagement and contribution during the initial project development phase helped to inform the design of the intervention in St. Lucia. We value the insight and support provided during that formative period. To our national coordinating facilitators, we offer our sincere thanks. 4H Dominica, Rotary Satellite St. Lucia Sunset, 4H Grenada and the National Leaders Council, and the Zero Hunger Trust Fund serving as the national coordinating facilitator in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you for accepting the responsibility of anchoring the project within your respective countries. Your work has already included engaging with national authorities, communication with schools, and support for the application and selection process, and coordination of participation in today's launch. As we move forward, your leadership will remain essential in supporting school assessments, coordinating national activities in each of the schools, and maintaining communication, documenting implementation, and helping each school to translate this regional project framework into practical local action. We extend a very special thanks and congratulations to the 10 selected schools. We also acknowledge the 31 schools that expressed interest and participated in the application process. To those selected, thank you for completing the required stages and demonstrating your readiness to commit to this project. To the principals, teachers, students, and parents representative, We appreciate your willingness to take ownership of the ecological school gardens, participate in training and monitoring, involve the wider school community, and working towards meaningful garden to lunch integration. You are not simply recipients of project resources, as we mentioned before. You are the institutions and the communities through which this initiative will take root and grow. We must also thank the University of the West Indies Global Campus, including Saint Vincent and the Grenadines site, and the participating sites across the region for facilitating today's hybrid launch, bringing together participants from several countries, both in person and virtually, required careful coordination, technical preparation, and close collaboration. We appreciate the professionalism and responsiveness of the teams that supported the venue, connectivity, audiovisual arrangements, and regional participation. To Ms. Chanda Davis, our project coordinator, thank you for the extensive coordination and preparation required to bring today's launch together and for your continuing work in moving the project into implementation. We also acknowledge Mrs. Mishka Edwards-Porter, our technical expert, for the technical support provided to the project and for helping to establish the framework that will guide the ecological school garden interventions. We further extend our appreciation to Mr. Johnny Callis, our monitoring, evaluation, accountability, and learning expert, for supporting development of the project results. Monitoring and project results. Your work is critical to ensuring that implementation is properly tracked, outcomes are measured, lessons are documented, and evidence is generated to strengthen both accountability and future implementation. Our appreciation extends to the communication, administration, finance, procurement, technical and logistical personnel who have worked behind the scenes. Events such as this depend a great deal on work that is not often visible, and we thank each person who contributed. To all our speakers, thank you for sharing your perspective, your national experiences, your lessons. Your contributions have helped us to move beyond project document and begin a wider conversation about what is really required to develop school gardens that are educational, productive, inclusive, and sustainable. We are grateful for Pastor Shane Franklin, member of the Board of Trustees of the Zero Hunger Trust Fund, for offering the invocation and helping us begin this occasion with reflection and purpose. We thank our Master of Ceremonies for guiding us through the program and the members of the media and communication teams for helping to share the project's objectives and regional significance with a wider audience. To all who joined us virtually, thank you for your patience, participation, and engagement. Your presence demonstrates that geography does not have to limit collaboration among our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Finally, we thank our partners, service providers, invited guests, stakeholders, supporters, friends of the project. Whether your contribution was made during concept development, consultation, selection, planning, technical preparation, or today's launch, it has helped us reach this far. As we close, we recognize that today is not the completion of the work. It is the formal beginning of implementation. The real success of this project will be seen in our schools, in the engagement of our students, in the leadership of our teachers, in the involvement of parents and communities, in the productivity and sustainability of gardens, and in lessons that we generate and share across the region. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your partnership. Thank you for your belief in this vision and your confidence in the EU-CaN Cultivating Future project. May we continue to work together to cultivate stronger schools, healthier children, and more resilient communities. Thank you, and do have a wonderful day.
And we welcome now my friend to soothe us with sun. Right, while we do that, we'll continue with official media.
So, as said before, thanks to everyone who made it. Thanks to the persons that are online as well. So at this time, we'll get a musical rendition whilst we take official pictures and photos on the sites as well. So we'll take official photos on the sites as we have the pan play. So, Matthew, take it away.